My heart hammers against my ribs even now when I remember the crushing weight of my own silence. I would open my mouth, desperate to share a thought, an idea, a simple piece of myself, and all that would come out was a strained, hesitant sound. The words I needed were always just out of reach, locked away by a fear so profound it felt like a physical barrier. If you are watching this right now, perhaps you know this feeling all too well. That sensation of your own voice betraying you, the conviction that you are simply not built for this, that confidence is a gift given to others but forever denied to you. I am here to tell you, with every fiber of my being, that this is not your truth. What you are experiencing is a story you have been told, a narrative that can be rewritten. It might surprise you to hear that the ability to speak with clarity, fluidity, and unwavering self-assurance did not come naturally to me. Yes, I am a native English speaker. And yes, I have dedicated over 25 years of my life to teaching this language, with a specific focus on guiding students to genuine fluency. But none of that means these skills were an innate part of who I was. They were not a default setting, not in my second language, and astonishingly, not even in my own mother tongue, English. I have walked the very same path you are on now, littered with the same daunting obstacles and the same whispered insecurities. Have you ever looked inward and thought, my nature is too reserved, my personality is too shy, I will never be able to speak with that kind of magnetic confidence? Or have you ever listened to another person, perhaps a colleague or a character in a film, and thought with a sense of awe and despair, she speaks so quickly, so effortlessly, her words are a flowing river. Why does my own speech feel like a stagnant pond? You may have even convinced yourself that if you dare to slow down, to catch your breath, you will immediately sound less competent, less fluent. You fear that your listeners will grow bored, that you must accelerate your speech to keep their attention. And in those agonizing moments when the perfect word evaporates from your mind, leaving you stranded in mid-sentence, you are certain that those listening are judging you, thinking you are foolish or unprepared for forgetting something that seems so simple in hindsight. I want you to know, with absolute certainty, that I have hosted every single one of those destructive thoughts in my own mind. They have been my constant companions in my second language and, to my own initial shock, they have haunted me in English as well. But I eventually made a discovery that altered the entire trajectory of my life and my career. I uncovered that every single one of these deeply held convictions, these narratives I repeated to myself, were nothing more than myths. A myth, in this context, is a false belief, a lie we accept as truth that then limits our potential. When I finally stumbled upon what was actually real, it fundamentally transformed my entire mindset. It revolutionized my approach to learning, it reignited my motivation to practice consistently, and it dramatically enhanced my ability to make tangible, measurable progress in my spoken communication. Most importantly, this new understanding gifted me with a genuine, unshakable confidence, the kind of confidence that gives you the courage to continue moving forward, no matter how many times you stumble. This profound truth holds power in my second language, and it is equally potent in my native English. I used to be utterly captivated by fast talkers. I would sit in meetings or watch presentations, mesmerized by the sheer speed of their words, believing that their velocity was the ultimate proof of their fluency. I convinced myself that their rapid-fire speech was a benchmark I had to meet. So, I would push myself to speak faster, trying to emulate their pace, only to end up in a tangled mess of jumbled words, misplaced grammar, and panicked breaths. The result was never the confident fluency I desired. It was a frantic, chaotic ramble that left both me and my listeners exhausted and confused. This brings me directly to the second pervasive myth we must dismantle: the belief that fluent English is always fast English. Without a doubt, this is one of the most common and damaging misconceptions about communication, and unfortunately, it is a myth perpetuated by the media we consume. English-speaking television shows and sitcoms often feature characters who speak at an unnaturally rapid pace for dramatic or comedic effect. This creates a distorted reality, a false standard that we then internalize. And yes, it is true that there are many native English speakers who speak extremely quickly. However, and this is a critical distinction, the speed of their speech does not automatically qualify them as effective communicators. In fact, they may speak so rapidly that their fellow native English speakers struggle to understand everything they say. Let me be perfectly clear: speed and clarity are not the same thing. A fast speaker is not necessarily a good communicator. To illustrate this point, let me attempt to speak at an unnaturally accelerated pace for me right now. Imagine I am trying to share a complex idea, but I am doing so with a frantic speed because I believe that is what fluency requires, and I am not allowing myself any moments to breathe or to think about the structure of my sentences and the precision of my words. It feels completely out of control, doesn't it? It sounded fast, but was it good communication? Was it clear, confident, or easy for you to follow? Absolutely not. When I was speaking like that, my brain felt chaotic. I was aware that I was likely making mistakes, but I had no capacity to catch them or prevent them because I wasn't granting myself any time to organize my thoughts and be intentional about what I wanted to express. The reality, the truth that will set you free from this pressure, is that genuine fluency is about smooth, natural, and crystal-clear communication with you firmly in the driver's seat. Fluency is about maintaining control. When I was speaking super fast, I was not in control, my anxiety was. So, what is the practical, actionable advice you can start applying today to make progress in this area? You must shift your goal. Aim for supreme clarity over breakneck speed. When you speak, your primary objective is to be understood, not to be the fastest. To dramatically improve your clarity and, paradoxically, your overall fluency, you must learn to embrace and strategically use small, purposeful pauses in your speech. If you listen to me carefully throughout this lesson, you will notice that I use these pauses consistently. I use them between sentences to allow one idea to land before I introduce the next. If I have a particularly long sentence, I use them between distinct thought groups to aid comprehension. I also use them before and after a word or phrase that I really want to emphasize, to give it weight and importance. Every single time I employ one of these pauses, it provides me with multiple powerful benefits. First, it gives me a vital moment to breathe, which is essential for oxygenating my brain and maintaining a sense of calm. Second, this calmness allows me to think more clearly and strategically about what comes next. Is it the right word, the correct grammatical structure, the proper pronunciation? This is true in my native language, and it is equally true in my second language. Third, and most importantly, it brings exceptional clarity and impact to my speech. The rhythm it creates is smooth, it sounds natural to the ear, and it makes my message significantly easier for you to understand. This is the entire point of communication. If you and I are going to have a meaningful conversation, or if I aim to share a vital concept with you in this lesson, I have a responsibility to ensure my speech is accessible and comprehensible. If I consistently speak too fast, you will inevitably miss crucial details. I will become breathless, lose my focus, and make a multitude of unnecessary errors. If you are skeptical about the power of the pause, I have a challenge for you. I want you to go and watch a truly skilled public speaker. It could be a presenter you admire on a podcast or a renowned TED Talk speaker. Listen not just to their words, but to their rhythm. You will discover a universal truth: all skilled communicators embrace the strategic use of pauses. They understand that silence is not emptiness. It is a powerful tool that gives weight to words and allows ideas to resonate. This understanding leads us directly to the third myth that holds so many back: the belief that confident speakers never need to seek clarification. You might secretly worry that if you ask someone to repeat or explain what they have just said, it will be perceived as a sign of weakness, a lack of intelligence, or a deficit in confidence. This fear can cause you to nod along in a conversation you have completely lost, creating a facade of understanding while feeling isolated and confused inside. However, the absolute opposite is true. Confident speakers do not hesitate to ask for clarification. In fact, doing so demonstrates that you are fully engaged and intellectually invested in the conversation. It shows that you are committed to true understanding and mutual respect. In English-speaking cultures, this is also recognized as a key component of active listening, a sign of a thoughtful and careful communicator. The practical step you can take here is to build your arsenal of clarification phrases. Practice using them first in low-stakes conversations with people you feel comfortable with, so that they become a natural and effortless part of your vocabulary. As you grow more comfortable with these phrases, you will be far more likely to use them in high-pressure situations when you genuinely need to understand. Here are a few essential phrases I use regularly and recommend you integrate into your own speech. Number 1. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Would you mind repeating it? Number 2. I'm not sure I'm fully following. Could you explain what you mean by that? Number 3. Would you mind saying that again? I want to make sure I've understood you perfectly. Whether you are receiving complex instructions from your manager, navigating a sensitive family discussion, or debating a nuanced topic with a friend, these phrases are universally appropriate and respected. They are the tools of a proactive and confident communicator. This brings me to a myth that is perhaps the most personally liberating one to shatter: the belief that confident speakers never experience setbacks, that they do not make mistakes or fumble over their words. Oh, how I wish this were true. It is undoubtedly a myth, and I can confirm this from daily experience. I frequently stumble over my words, make grammatical slips, lose my train of thought, and forget simple vocabulary. My team and my students will gladly verify this. They have witnessed it countless times. In spontaneous communication, our brains and our mouths do not always perfectly synchronize. We forget words, we trip over our sentences, our minds go blank mid-thought. This is not a sign of failure, it is a universal human experience. It happens to everyone, including the most skilled and celebrated communicators in the world. Now, here is the crucial distinction. While consistent practice can help you minimize the frequency of these moments and maintain better control, it cannot eliminate them entirely. The true skill, therefore, is not in avoiding mistakes but in learning how to gracefully regain your composure when they occur. I had to do this just recently inside my Confident Women community. I was explaining how to use a progress journal, and in the middle of my sentence, my mind went completely blank. I could not recall the word journal. This is a simple, everyday word, yet it vanished. For a split second, I felt that familiar wave of panic, that flush of embarrassment. But then, I consciously applied the skills I teach. I did not panic. I took a quiet, deep breath to calm my nervous system. I then began to describe the object, this tool for tracking your progress, and in the process of explaining it, the word journal naturally returned to me. This happened precisely because I stopped the panic and found a way to move forward. This is a skill you can absolutely develop, and it is foundational to building real confidence. True confidence comes not from perfection, but from the knowledge that you can overcome setbacks. So, what is the practical advice? You must practice speaking in environments where it is safe to make mistakes. You need a judgment-free space to not only make errors but to practice the very skills that help you recover from them. As a recovering perfectionist and a proud introvert, I deeply understand the desire to have everything meticulously organized in my mind before I speak. I do not like making mistakes, and I never will. But they are inevitable. They will always happen. When a mistake occurs in the moment, the single most effective thing you can do is to pause briefly. Take a deep, calming breath. This instantly helps you regain control. It gives your brain a critical moment to reset. You can then choose to correct the mistake or simply move past it. For example, you can gently circle back and clarify. Use a simple phrase like, "Oh, what I meant to say was." Alternatively, you can offer a brief, polite apology and correction. "I'm sorry, I misspoke. I wanted to say." In a more casual setting, you could even make a light, self-deprecating joke to diffuse any tension. "It seems my brain is moving faster than my mouth today." The option I used was simply to describe the word I was missing, which allowed me to continue the flow of my thought without a major interruption. This brings me to the fifth and final myth, one that creates a profound sense of hopelessness, the belief that you either have confidence or you do not. This is an extremely rigid, all-or-nothing perspective that falsely assumes if you do not feel confident at this very moment, you are permanently locked out of the possibility. This could not be further from the truth. Confidence is not a fixed genetic trait, it is a skill. And like any skill, it is 100%, absolutely, without a doubt, possible for you to develop. Every single confident speaker you admire started at the very beginning. They learned the fundamental principles of clear communication. They practiced, often clumsily and fearfully at first. They observed their own performance, learned how to navigate mistakes in real time, and they continued to practice relentlessly to sharpen their abilities. Even after achieving a high level of confidence, a true master communicator never stops practicing because they operate from a mindset of continuous improvement. When you listen to a skilled public speaker, a captivating podcaster, or a colleague who sounds perfectly fluent, what you are hearing is their highlight reel. You are not witnessing the countless hours of preparation, the years of awkward practice, the numerous mistakes, and the persistent self-doubt they had to overcome to reach that point. Confidence is nurtured and developed over time through consistent practice and gradual exposure to a variety of speaking situations. So, what is the practical path forward? You must embrace the confidence-building learning cycle. Think about learning any other complex skill, whether it is playing a musical instrument, mastering a sport, or learning to paint. There is a natural process. This cycle begins with learning, which informs your actions. Taking action leads to improvement in your abilities. This improvement positively shifts your self-belief, which in turn builds your confidence. That growing confidence then motivates you to continue learning. Do you see the most critical element here? This cycle does not begin with waiting to feel confident. Confidence, motivation, and progress are not the prerequisites for action, they are the results of it. The most powerful thing you can do to gain confidence in speaking English is to take a single action. Then another. And then another. Let me give you 8 concrete recommendations to start taking action and getting meaningful speaking practice immediately. Number 1. Download the in-depth training I mentioned earlier, How to Get the Confidence to Say What You Want in English, as it includes a bonus 4-week speaking practice program designed to build a powerful habit. Number 2. Actively seek out and join an English-speaking community, such as an online speaking club or a local meetup group. Number 3. Immerse yourself in an interest-based club or volunteer organization where English is used, like a book club or a community theater group. Number 4. Find a trusted language coach or teacher you connect with and enroll in a speaking-focused class. Number 5. Propose a regular language exchange with a supportive coworker or neighbor, dedicating time to practice together. Number 6. Make a habit of listening to English podcasts or TED Talks. As you listen, actively write down new vocabulary or compelling phrases you would like to adopt. Afterward, practice summarizing what you heard out loud, making a conscious effort to use the new words you recorded. Number 7. Engage in conversations with yourself in English when you are alone. I do this frequently in my second language while cooking or driving. It is a zero-pressure way to practice forming thoughts and speaking in a fluent stream. And number 8. Consider joining a speaking-focused organization like Toastmasters, which is specifically designed to build public speaking and communication skills in a supportive environment. The most critical takeaway is to take action. Start with a step that feels manageable to you. Gently expand your comfort zone rather than trying to leap out of it all at once. And crucially, surround yourself with people who will support and encourage your efforts. When you do this consistently, you will set in motion a powerful, positive cycle. You will witness improved abilities, which will fuel renewed motivation, which in turn will build undeniable confidence, ultimately leading to the very fluency you desire. In our time together today, I have shared with you several pathways you can take for your very next step. So now, I have a very important question for you. What is the one action step you are committed to taking? What is the single, manageable thing you can do this very week to move forward in your English journey? Share your commitment with me down below. I am truly looking forward to reading your plans and having the opportunity to cheer you on as you take this courageous next step. If you found this lesson valuable, I would be deeply grateful if you would let me know. You can do this by giving this video a thumbs up here on YouTube, by subscribing to the English Dictionary channel so you never miss one of our weekly lessons, and by leaving a comment sharing your thoughts. Thank you so much for investing this time in yourself and your goals. I believe in your ability to become a confident English speaker, and I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson.